Good evening, everybody. It's good to be seeing you on this Wednesday evening to talk to you about a very familiar term that every human on this earth would be able to relate to. This is the term that when someone speaks of it, you get tears in your eyes. It's hard to live without it. It's hard to live with it. It's called suffering. I'm sure a lot of you have been to a lot of things. A lot of you have seen things that really tore up your heart a lot of times at times of suffering. When we look into the Bible, we see a similar situation in the life of Job. Job is a very prosperous man in the land of Uz. He's there. He has 7 sons, 3 daughters, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of ox, and 500 female donkeys, and a whole new servant to serve all his household. When we look into the context of Job in his life, he's a very faithful man, never knew what was unrighteousness in his life. Very righteous man, very faithful in the Lord, did all his offerings for his children, for his family, and everybody in his household. But as we study, Satan is so much tempted seeing Job's life. And he suffers a terrible pain by losing everybody in the family, all the cattle that he has, and even his life to an extent. At one point in time in his life, when he is broken down with everything, when he's going through the sufferings, he tears down his robe, falls on the ground, and he's trying to find some pottery, piece of pottery to pop up the boils that he had on his body just to get some relief out of it. Suffering. He suffered a lot. But this is in the Old Testament. But in our lifetime, we have a real near situation which we see in the life of Horatio Gates Spafford. He's a very rich lawyer in the 1850s. He lives in Chicago, and in time as he gets married with Anna Spafford, he has 4 daughters and 1 son, but the son dies at the age of 2. And as he is in this loss of his son, he loses his son, and as he goes through that, immediately there was the greatest Chicago fire, and he loses a lot of his economic treasure. And then, in 1873, he goes through economic turndown, and he loses most of his financial stuff that he rely on. And then as we see, he wants his family to get away from it. He doesn't want them to suffer all this what they're going through. So he plans to go with the family, with 4 daughters and his wife and himself, to Europe. But on the day before he stops, because of the business issues, he could not make it. So he sends his 4 daughters and wife on the trip on the ship. It's a steamline ship named Willahu Harvey. And the ship, as it was traveling, hits a sea vessel and it sinks to the bottom. All the 4 daughters die in that crash. And he gets a message that only his wife, she sends him a telegram saying, "Saved alone." We see that he lost everything in his life. And then he wants to go to Europe to meet his wife. And as he was traveling by, he writes a wonderful song. If you turn to your songbook, it's 280, says, "It's well with my soul." If you look at the songbook, it reads that when peace like a river attend my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. He's singing this song, remembering the daughters that he had, the 4 daughters that he had, and saying to his soul, it's all well with my soul, seeking the eternal Father. And then 4, he goes writing, saying about his sin, saying, my sin, oh the bliss of this glorious thought, my sin, not in part, but the whole, is nailed to the cross, and I bear it no more. Praise the Lord, O my soul. He's saying about his sin is completely nailed to the whole, and he's not bearing it anymore. And to the final verse it says, my faith, and Lord, haste the day when the faith shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. He sings this wonderful song, Horatio Gates Spafford, with his wife, Anna Spafford. And then they have children again, and even that son dies. But still, he sings this beautiful song. Suffering is a very hard stage in life. It gets to a point you get very closer to God in faith, and also it gets to a point where sometimes you deviate in faith. If you are here, you have been going through the suffering in life. If you are here, you have been saved and have been going through a lot of suffering alone. I want you to remind, we are all here as a church, as a family. Come as we stand and sing this beautiful song, saying it's all well with my soul.